forward to seeing you then.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
When you talk about our motherland Uganda, the pearl of Africa, you cannot fail to smile because of the smile that fills the faces of the citizens. Our nice good weather and nature that sustains us all, that enables us all to continue each in their own way because we are all different even according to each individual's work. But what joins us to become one person is the sweetness from the flavored drink Alleluia Jingati drink and Alleluia Tamarind drink. The flavor that quenches your thirst while at the same time treating and healing your body because it is 100% natural. Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Alleluia Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Alleluia from all shops around.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Now, good morning to you all who are waking up with us to start this beautiful week. Now, today being Monday also means that it is another opportunity that is presented itself to us in terms of what we can do and what we can't actually let ourselves lose as we head forth into creating a virtualness of our lives. Now, in another way of life, again, Mondays, and normally people talk about them being blues, Monday blues, and sometimes people are a bit down and all this. But guess what? Here on Good Morning Uganda, we come to you giving you some good vibes and, of course, some life, trying to throw some life into your week. We hope that this will actually catch a glimpse of whatever your expectations are in this week. So much has happened this weekend. Sad, good, actually the word is that the good, the bad and the ugly have also happened. Unfortunately, we lost one of the renowned business people that has been around for quite a time. He has built an empire, that is BMK. We did lose him and was buried. That was yesterday. And so much happened. But also, if you're talking about the good things, yesterday we saw Ronaldo on Saturday do as expected. But the most interesting part of it was the commentary. You should hear those words word by word. That's when you will know the power of the CR7. Today morning, I have many of my colleagues with me, that is Maureen, Robert and Priscilla, but I'll pick to start by saying hello to you, Robert.
Lovely morning to you, Felix, and of course good morning the team, and good morning to everybody that has chosen to start your week with us. It is a new week, and of course the way you start your day will greatly determine the rest of the week. First, it is important for you to have a positive mindset, be determined, be consistent, and of course expect that challenges do not come to put us down, but just raise us to another level. Like the Bon Jovi will say, that you have the ability to raise a man on eagle's wings. So it's all about you ensuring that in whatever you're going to do, put God first, be determined, be confident, positive mindset, and success is coming your way this week. Good morning, Priscilla.
I also would want to know how was your night, Priscilla?
My night was, I don't remember, I was sleeping. So I don't know what happened in the course of the night. But again, I don't know. I was sleeping. That's the point of sleep, guys. If your night has interruptions or anything like that, then you know that your sleeping habits are quite not good. Anyway, good morning, Uganda. My name is Priscilla Nalwoga, and welcome to yet a brand new week. Monday, here we are on Good Morning Uganda to steward you through the entire week. But as we do that, one of the things that I find positive about Mondays, much as people call them Monday blues and hate them, for me, I look at it as an opportunity that has been given to you 52 times a year to have a fresh start, to start something new, or to actually go back and rewind and actually be able to complete that thing that you have been working on, which gives you an opportunity 52 times. I don't see any other day that gives you that opportunity.
Well, speaking of opportunities, I have the opportunity this morning to be standing next to a very, very clingily beautiful woman. Good morning. How are you, Marlon?
Yes, I'm very well. Good morning to you as well, Felix, and to the team. And good morning, our family here at Good Morning Uganda. Yes, everyone talks about Monday as a good day. It's a good day to refresh and restart, you know, but there is something I learned over the weekend amidst the sad news, amidst, like they put it, the ugly, the bad. But you can dare yourself into adventures, whatever your limits can be, they're not limitless. There is an opportunity for you to dare yourself and explore other potentials in life that you didn't even know you could. So I think starting Monday, my motivation is do move in any other adventure that you feel you have needed to do that, you've been wanting to do that. There is that kind of business you've wanted to start, but then something has been holding you back. It is a good day to be motivated and dare and go in that line, do something about it, make research about that business, make research about that job you wanted to take, dare yourself, and you can only have a limitless kind of life. And I'll quote this from aviation. We say that the sky is only the lower limit. So when people tell you the sky is the limit, it's just not true. The sky is only the lower limit. That means there is an upper limit. Wow. So just keep going. So explore the layers of the sky.
Listening to Mullen reminds you of motivation speakers. Robert, have you had an opportunity to be before a motivational speaker?
Yes.
Do they annoy you? Do they arouse your spirit, or do they, or do they look like they're comedians sometimes?
Sometimes they can inspire, but sometimes their life stories are so hard to understand. One time I attended this conference, and they brought a motivation speaker. I won't mention his name, and he was telling us how he made his first 1 million in life. And really, even if you tried your best to do it that way, it was practically impossible. So a motivation speaker can make you believe, you know, they're more or less like some born-again pastors. You know, this week you're going to fly. So there's a way, but it's good to at least raise your standards. But for sure, once it turned into a business, yeah, where these were paid to come and speak, I think the reality of it slowly is losing shape. That a person would want to speak everything that maybe seems motivating for him to get another platform and be paid to come and speak. But previously, motivation speakers would be maybe like the late Haji Ibrahim Chibirige, maybe comes and speaks to young business people. But today we have people that have been labeled motivation speaker, did some reading. Those guys, sometimes they can even make you desire to push a lorry on your own.
But but Robert, I'll tell you something. What is the most do you think the best motivation of your life should come from someone?
I believe in role models. I believe in mentorship.
Clearly, exactly.
But really,
mentorship, motivation speaking. Yeah. You think you can? I remember one time we were taken.
Something from someone's speech, but not really like want to be like.
Do you know what motivational speakers do? Have you heard these guys? A guy will come and tell you there's a lion in you. There's a lion. I'm looking at it. I'm like,
yeah.
Make it roar. So don't be afraid. That's why Robert says that they'll make you think you can push a lorry on your own, and clearly that's how far we've come. But anyway, most of the things that did happen this weekend, Robert and Priscilla, and what did you spend your weekend? And I'll start with you, Priscilla. There was Friday afternoon, Saturday, Sunday.
Well, over the course of the weekend, I had work, and then I was in hospital the other part of the weekend. So it was between work and hospital.
Okay, Molen?
I did mostly a lot of baking.
Say what?
Yeah, I'm a professional baker, if you didn't know. So
what?
So I did a lot of that and put a smile on people's faces. You know, cakes are nice. They are nice gestures. So I extended those, and a lot of them were really impressed. And that makes me feel
we get to have one tomorrow for breakfast, Wallet?
As long as you have the cash, you know. It's not a
Where's
charity
the benefit of working
thing.
with you?
Robert.
My birthday is very near, so please, I think I'll get a cake and not this water sharing of water.
So, Robert, how do you spend your weekend?
Well, of late, my morning weekends, I'm at Koro Ceremonial Grounds, or the police Kenyan unit in Zambia. I have friends there, so I'm learning a bit of more in dog training. So they're my colleagues. So we must make sure by 7 we are there, and around midday we are done. So I'm trying to learn some of those skills. Then my evening, I went visited my parents. Sunday, I had a moment with one of my brothers who's been for some time away from this country, and he was preaching to me. He returned a changed man. So there was so much family time over this weekend. I also had a bit of worship and praise, music fitting in that mood, and still the song Son of David was still running in my thoughts. I listened to it over and over, the studio production. I'm like, yes. And also of Bugembe Katonda. You know the song? Katonda yabadde mwene songa. So I recognize that even locally, we are used to this Don Mowells, you know, that exotic, not exotic, but at least from outside Uganda. These are the guys that had good worship songs. But I came to learn that Uganda, in the worship arena, many young souls are coming up with good worship songs that will take you like our economy to cloud 9.
Well, anyway, weekends are done. Now we are into this beautiful week, and we pray and hope that we will be having more and more opportunities to be able to be graced by God, and of course his opportunities to let us get to the things that we desire. Let us become change people and better people. But also we must keep reminding our people that take care of yourselves. Life is precious, most of the times of COVID. But also, as you do that, do not forget to get yourself hallelujah ginger tea drink and hallelujah tamarind drink as you do take care of your health. These are natural drinks that will help boost your immunity and of course make you health-wise much prepared for anything that wants to attack your body. We would want also to get into our local stories now with Robert and Priscilla, and thereafter myself and Mullen will be looking at international stories.
And we'll start off with the burial of city tycoon, that is the late Haj Ibrahim Chibidige Mwanga, where the business tycoon Haj Ibrahim Chibidige Mwanga, popularly known as BMK, was buried at Salam Muslim Cemetery in Nkowe. There was an outpouring of emotions and attributes as Haj Ibrahim Mwanga Chibidige, who many knew and called BMK, was laid to rest. And observance of standard operating procedures amidst coronavirus pandemic, hundreds of mourners gathered at the cemetery donated to the Muslim community by the late businessman himself. President Yoweri Museveni paid a tribute to the late Haj Ibrahim Mwanga Chibidige, describing him as one of the finest businessmen to have ever walked Ugandan path. In a speech read for him by the Works Minister, General Katumba Amala, President Museveni said BMK was a great entrepreneur and innovative businessman. BMK's burial started with an early morning prayer at Hotel Africana, one of his business empires, where prayers lasted for 5 minutes. From Africana, the body was then taken to Nkowe in Wachiso district, his final resting place. The Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Anita Amongi, pledged Parliament's role to ensure that a street is named in honor of BMK. The Kabaka of Buganda, Ronald Muwenda Mutebi, was represented by the Prime Minister of Buganda, Charles Peter Mayiga. The Kabaka commended BMK for being developmental and a man who loved the kingdom and contributed much towards the growth of Buganda.
May his soul rest in peace, but his legacy will continue on. It was a scientific ceremony characterized by pomp as Toro Kingdom marked the 27th Mpango celebrations at Karuzika Palace in Fort Portal Tourism City. At the scientific celebrations, typified by sorted Royal Makondere culture dance, in his sermon, the Bishop of Ruwenzori Diocese, retired Right Reverend Ruben Chisembo, praised government for releasing former Muhikirwa of Toro, John Sanyu Katuram. It is party after party as Toro Kingdom marked its Mpango celebrations, and the President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni was represented by the Minister for Tourism, Wildlife and Antiques, Colonel Tom Butime, at the celebrations. Colonel Butime commended the unity exhibited by Toro ever since the kingdom was restored. Butime assured the kingdom that the process to return the kingdom's properties is a continuous process and cannot be halted. During the ceremony, Toro Kingdom rolled out its 25-year development plan that seeks to support the Toro improve household incomes through agriculture, education and health promotion. The 26th coronation anniversary attracted government officials, the loyal fraternity and non-government organizations, luminaries from within and outside the kingdom.
Away from Toro Kingdom, we now head to issues regarding COVID-19 testing at Entebbe Airport, where Ministry of Health has gazetted Penile Beach in Entebbe to test all travelers entering the country through Entebbe International Airport. Prime Minister Robin Anabanja yesterday led a high-profile government delegation for a fact-finding mission of the facility's sustainability. Premier Anabanja asserted that amongst the issues addressed were the $65 charged by the service provider. After recent outcry by the public in regards to high COVID-19 PCR tests charges at Entebbe Airport, Prime Minister Robin Anabanja led a team for a fact-finding mission at the airport and Penile Beach Hotel, where all these services are provided. Prime Minister Anabanja interacted with some of the travelers who shared their experience at Penile Hotel. Later, the team held a closed-door meeting where a number of observations were made and tabled the matter before Cabinet.
Government has issued key security measures in its effort to fight against machete welding gangs that have killed civilians in Greater Masaka sub-region. But what could have been the security gap which led to the lost innocent lives of Greater Masaka? Available records show that 29 persons have lost their lives in Greater Masaka since the wave of killings began August. Government responded and suspects were arrested, detained, and some have already been charged in courts of law. Findings indicate that night attacks on people's homes in Greater Masaka are aimed at causing panic and create a sense of vulnerability. The attackers, mostly targeting the elderly, hit them between 8 p.m. and 6 a.m., taking advantage of the darkness and curfew. An intelligence gap at the village level, poor working relationship among members of the district security committees may have created insecurity in Greater Masaka. Though the motive of the evil-hearted individuals cannot be traced, intelligence reports on points of the enemies of peace. The panga welding criminals could have spread fear to other parts of the country if leaders at all levels did not mobilize locals against the crime.
Now we get into our international stories. Wow, we'll look at North Korea tests new long-range cruise missile. And North Korea has tested a new long-range cruise missile capable of hitting much of Japan, state media on Monday said. Now, tests staged over the weekend saw missile traveling as far as 1,500 kilometers. That's about 930 miles away, according to KCNA. However, it does not violate U.S. Security Council resolution. They have led it tough sanctions on North Korea, that is in the past. Now, but the suggestion of the same comes that this testing of the cruise missile did come to provide strategic significance of the possession and other effective deterrence means of more reliably guaranteed the security of the states and those around Korea. Now, the same also causes mayhem in the other states like Japan, China, but more by far U.S. military. Now, crossing over to Taliban, we see Taliban say women can study in gender-segregated universities. Women in Afghanistan can continue to study in universities, including at the postgraduate level, but classrooms will be gender-segregated and head covering will be compulsory. Now, Higher Education Minister Abdul Baqi Kain said out new policies at the new conference on Sunday, a day after the Taliban raised their flag over the presidential palace, signaling the start of work of the new all-male government announced last week. The Taliban's raise has stoked fear, and groups would turn back to the draconian rule that was defined in the first stint of power in Afghanistan 20 years ago. That includes the denial of education for girls and women, as well as their exclusion from public life. We will start building what exists today. Now, Hakim came out to say the Taliban's position that is its attitude towards raising the most values of our beliefs. Now, the most recent statements come as a group of sought international legitimacy following the lightning fast offensive across the country as the United States prepared to withdraw troops by August 31st deadline. Taliban took Kabul on the 15th of August. Now back to Africa. South Africa has started vaccinating children and also adolescents as part of the global phase 3 clinical trials of China's Sinovac biotech COVID-19 vaccine for people aged between 6 and 17 years old. Now the global study will also enroll 2,000 participants in South Africa, and also 12,000 others will be taking part in Kenya, Philippines, Chile and Malaysia. The first children in South Africa were inoculated on Friday at the Sefeka Makato Hospital Science University, capital Pretoria. Kick-off of these trials and others will get shots at 6 different sites across the country, and Sinovac said it is willing to be part of this project. The primary objective of the study is to evaluate the efficacy of 2 doses of CoronaVac against confirmed symptomatic or asymptomatic people who have COVID-19, and more so cases in children who carry the viral load largely.
From the USA, firefighters advance on a blaze that shut California highway. Now, firefighters were making progress on a wildfire that jumped across the Southern California freeway and spread across dry hillsides, while a new blaze forced residents of the Northern California community to evacuate. Now, the fire broke out Saturday afternoon near northern Los Angeles County, pushed by 10 to 15 meters per hour winds. The blaze chewed through the dry brush and jumped across the busy freeway, spread across more than half of a square mile. The California Highway Patrol closed the stretch of the interstate for several hours as air tankers dropped bright orange retardants on the flames. A large fire sent heavy smoke drifting towards freeway lanes Sunday afternoon, as the California Highway Patrol reports. Now, 2 firefighters were taken to the hospital to treat burnt injuries, said Andrew Michel, a spokesperson for the Angels National Forest. The fire remained uncontained due to the mountainous terrain, but firefighters made progress overnight with the help of water-dropping aircraft and an aggressive ground attack, as Michel said. He says crews will take advantage of the beginning of the cooling trend on Sunday to build containment lines. The cause of the fire is still under investigations.
That's what's basically happening in the international scene. More of that is you can catch us also what we'll be looking at more of the stories later on in our production. As you always know, our normal drill will be looking at our newsreel. We'll be having other segments like sports and of course the agenda. But for now, Robert would want to give you some good advice on how you can kickstart your healthy day.
And that will be hallelujah ginger tea and hallelujah turmeric drink. This morning I've decided to have a concoction which some people usually prefer in these times of COVID-19, a bit of this and that, and I have my ginger tea with a warm cup of hot water. And I believe this is something that also energizes your body, but also above all we are looking at something that can boost your immune system, and Hallelujah products will do that for you. Just 1,500, any nearest supermarket or retail shop, you'll be able to get yourself these drinks, both the turmeric and the ginger tea, each at 1,500. And there is nothing more important than being alive in the times of COVID-19. So if that is your choice, then Hallelujah Products is your #1 priority.
Well, up next is a song for the day, and that song is meant to inspire you, kickstart your day, but also motivate you as you really do start your week, so you actually are energized and feeling much good to go. We'll take a break, but also before we get there, we will have our poll question. Now, our poll question for today is your thoughts on a move to rename William Street to BMK, and should this be a trend to rename away from foreign names? That's our poll question. What is your true sentiment about naming most of the streets in Kampala, the major business city? Locally, you know, people who have made stance in the contribution to this city. For example, Gada, the late Sebana, and many other of their colleagues who have lived to see this city thrive. Do you think it's a good move, or should we keep the Williams, the Wilson, and Nile avenues of this world? But that is what you'll be able to share with us. Tell us what your true sentiments are. You can do that on our Facebook, share on our WhatsApp number, also on Twitter. But for some of you who are watching us on YouTube, you can leave also your comment. We'll be able to read them here and get to understand what your true thoughts about the same are. Let's take a break, have our song for the day. We'll be back and we'll be looking at the newsreel. Good morning.
Live from UBC Kampala. Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC, brought to you by
Tulantende ku program obulamu.
was brought to you by
We've cut and reduced our MTN Momo withdrawal rates. Now you can withdraw mobile money at the lowest rates. You also get MTN Century Points when you deposit, send, and withdraw MTN mobile money. Visit our Momo agents countrywide and withdraw mobile money at our reduced rates you want. Everywhere you go. MTN.
5 for 5, 5 times the winning, yeah. 5 times the happiness, yeah. 5 times the luckiness, yeah. 5 for 5, oh yeah. It's 5 for 5. 5 for 5, 5 times the money, yeah. 5 times the shopping, yeah. 5 times the prizes, yeah. 5 for 5, oh yeah. It's 5 for 5. 5 for 5.
Win 100,000 Uganda shillings weekly in the 5 for 5 jackpot. Simply download the Center mobile app. Click Center on the go to open your account online. Transact 5 times or more using Center mobile, Center Visa, and Center agent to stand a chance to win. The more you transact, the higher your chances of winning. So, participate in the 5 for 5 jackpot and win millions in daily and weekly prizes. The 5 for 5 jackpot is brought to you by Centenary Bank. Our bank, Centenary Bank, is regulated by the Bank of Uganda. Customer deposits are protected by the Deposit Protection Fund.
Getting GoTV was the best decision James has ever made. Finding a good place to watch football was never easy, but it was costly until James discovered something big. Now he can finally enjoy the benefits of homegrown advantage with a decoder and 1 month of GoTV Valley. For just 25,000 shillings, enjoy the world's biggest leagues and cap competitions. GoTV Uganda, love it.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning to you once again. It is a brand new week and a new Monday before us. As the sun is rising, so is Good Morning Uganda continuing to shine with the informative, a sector that has not really faced the wrath of lockdown as COVID-19 hit the country back in 2020 March. My name is Priscilla Nalwoga alongside Robert, Kirabo and also Felix Nkunda. But before we get into that, we want to just remind you, in case you have just joined us onto our 7 o'clock hour, we just want to give you an opportunity to be a part of the discussion that we are having in our poll question for the day. And looking at our poll question for the day,
our poll question is your thoughts on a move to rename William Street to BMK, and should this be a trend to rename away from foreign names? And of course, you can be able to share your sentiments or your thoughts on this particular topic through our Twitter handle, that is UBC, hashtag UBCGMU, our WhatsApp number 0709602592, and Facebook UBC TV Uganda. But also, for those of you who are streaming live on YouTube, you can leave a comment or send a SMS on the same number 0709602592. Should we be naming, should this be the trend to name streets in Kampala by the names of people who have contributed largely to the growth of this city?
All right, thank you so much. We will be getting your opinions later on. Now, on to our conversation for this morning. We want to look at the tourism sector, which really ties into the trade industry. And over the past few days, we have seen Parliament coming out to actually receive a number of recommendations on how to best revive the economy that has been totally battered by COVID-19. And the Tourism plus Trade Committees came out with a recommendation that was dubbed the Tourism Development Levy, which ideally, in short, it's putting a levy of $10 on every single ticket of a person that is leaving the country and that is using air transport, which means either they will use the Uganda Airlines or any other form of airlines. As long as it's air and you are flying out of this country, you will be given the $10 levy before you can actually leave the country, away from the costs of your ticket. Something that causes you to wonder, a sector that hasn't been totally under lockdown, and then also the fact that yes, it supplements the budget, but then again, who are the people that are going to be facing this particular development levy? Starting off with the impact of this levy, if indeed this proposal should be taken on by Parliament and endorsed, who is it going to impact and what is it going to be its impact, Robert?
When we look at this tax, first and foremost, Priscilla, I'm happy that members of Parliament expressed the need to boost the tourism sector. It is our #1 foreign earner for a country and of course contributes much. But when you talk about COVID-19, briefly I'll hit on, according to statistics, that is from Uganda Tourism Board, how COVID has really affected this sector. You'll find out that we earned in 2019, we earned 1.6, that is billion US dollars out of tourism. Now in 2020, how this sector is affected, we only earned half of this. We used to have about 1.5 million tourists entering Uganda, that is 2019. Now you have about 473,000 coming to Uganda. So that shows how this industry has greatly been hit. But also, when we go to this tax, we must understand the tourism sector of Uganda. That first and foremost, our tourism sector depends on foreigners. You'll find that United Kingdom, that is UK, is our #1 destination of people who come into this country, followed by the United States of America, then Germany. Little do you get from the domestic bit of it. Coming to this particular proposal, if approved by Cabinet, first and foremost, let's look at how these revenues are going to be divided. This will give us, if you are going to have value for this, if it's going to transform the sector. When you look at the report and what they're proposing Parliament, they will tell you that 70% of the proceedings will be shared, that is through the private sector, through those private people in the tourism business, where 70% will be managed by Post Bank Uganda, and the Ministry of Finance and the tourism will formulate a plan guide to access these funds. First, this is where I ask myself that we have so many stimulus packages being set up by government and being put in banks, and you find that these have not yielded sense. Go to Kasita, they will tell you that all the stimulus packages that were put in Uganda Development Bank did not yield so much. They rather propose, look at the players in this business, empower them to run these funds. But whenever you put them into banks, that these are technocrats that are not part of the business, they may not really understand the agency. For example, Priscilla, you could have a booking of 1,000 tourists coming in, and all you need is quick money. You get it? Quick money to make the bookings, quick money maybe to rent more vehicles that you don't have. The bank process may not give you that. Whereas if the money is in an association, the association will understand that this is how we operate business. Let's give Kirabo these maybe 50 million. His tourists will come. We know how we can hold him accountable. We know how we can maybe even confiscate property and sell. Banks are not adjustable. That's why I find that these stimulus packages are not really working out. Then still, when you look at the same monies that we are looking at how it's going to be spent, still they will tell you that that for the private sector, for the private players, then 20% is proposed to finance the aggressive marketing of Uganda Tourism Board. This is where I see an impact of this money. Because first and foremost, the biggest challenge we've been having, much as our tourism industry really gives us a lot of money, we've not been doing much in terms of marketing it. I'll give you an example. When you go to a country like Kenya, Kenya spends about 50 million US dollars.
Yes, but you cannot compare the kind of tourism
let me just give you what I'm telling you. What I'm telling you
in Kenya
in
with what
terms
we
of
have in Uganda.
Just marketing in Africa, $50 million. Then it spends $10 million marketing just outside Africa. When you go to a country like South Africa, it spends a lot marketing in Africa, then outside Africa. Go to Uganda. Our budget into tourism, the Uganda Tourism Board, is just 27 billion. So how much of that can you put in marketing? So when this money, that 20%, goes to the Uganda Tourism Board for marketing, and we market properly, then I believe it will have value. But in terms of the private sector, I highly doubt that the private players, the likes of Amos Wekesa and many other, may not tap into this opportunity because of the restrictions of banks. And therefore, if you're looking at rejuvenating the sector by empowering the local people in this business, that's something that won't work out. But in terms of marketing, I believe give Uganda Tourism Board more money, let them prioritize what is right, then it will give us some value.
Okay, all right, thank you so much. So the money that you're talking about is about 52 billion shillings that would be collected. But now you're looking at it, I'm taking the pool collection of about 1.5 million tourists that we've been receiving within the country. Before COVID-19 hit the country, that number has now been slashed down to about 473,000 people that are coming into the country through the window of tourism, which means that you're going to get about half of that, which is 26 billion shillings. And it still goes back to how much can that 26 billion do in terms of marketing. But then before we go into funding the marketing of the Uganda Tourism Board, Felix, what has been in your assessment, how has the marketing for Uganda to the rest of the world been, and why would it deserve this money?
Well, of course, excuse me, looking at a country like Uganda that is very much endowed with naturality, and that in its own self trickles into the aspect of tourism, one would say you may not even do much. There's not much to do in terms of and I've been trying to listen to my brother Robert also. He sounds just like any other poet saying marketing Uganda tourism. For us here, we are more blessed than actually. The reason why the Kenyans are struggling and they have those budgets you talked about, the South Africans, what is there? In comparison, of course, to what we have here, you would realize that one of the most or the simplest things to do, and I can tell you as a matter of fact, that even with all those budgets they have, you will find that if countries like Uganda may be far in terms of tourism visits, for that matter. But what am I saying is that the most important good today to boost tourism may not necessarily be a big budget. First and foremost, Robert, let's talk about, you've been around this country yourself. How many places, or what you want to call antiquities, or these treasurable places for tourism have been reserved? You see, I've learned...
Reserved and also conserved.
Yes,
yeah.
I mean, I've learned over time that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Or if you were to think about anything, don't think far from yourself. Before we go into advertising to Americans, to Germany, what are you advertising? Honestly and truly, what are we advertising? The basics must be in place. And if you're talking about budgets, we should talk about budgets in terms of conserving, as you said, and also reserving some of these places. You've been to the have you been to the, is it Maverega?
Nyamweru.
You've been there?
Yeah.
Do you think there's something that needs to be done to these places? You've seen to, Fort Portal alone has how many? I think over 7 crater lakes. And what has government done to support these places? Go to Kisoro where there are the gorillas. Is it gorillas? Yeah. What what are we doing? Most of these things are going to
private
Rwanda,
sector. Even the private sector is coming and buying
actually,
and owning it.
Yes, and the private sector is getting more. That's why they are trying. Actually, in a few years, you're going to see private zoos in this country, because for them they have understood the purpose. In a country where you're still promoting deforestation, you know, you're encroaching. People now are living in game parks. You see all these things. I think that's the starting point. Last time we had 11 lions killed, was it 11?
7.
You can imagine. Those are bigger problems. Before we talk about marketing, let's first put these things in order. Let's talk about, you see, in times of COVID, we got a big challenge. Airports were closed for over 6 months, internationally, by the way. But we couldn't. That's when we thought, we can do domestic tourism. And it was too late. It was too late. Now, it was only for us to wake up and understand that, because the first marketing personnel or strategy you have is a national. Before you want to talk about, let's put billions, the first marketing point of any country in terms of tourism is a countryman. Now, if a countryman doesn't know what they are going to market, what's the purpose? I don't want us to think that these people coming from wherever they come from can, like, they can't be the best voices. If Ugandans don't know what Uganda has, how are they going to talk about it? So, as we think about all these things, for example, how accessible are these sites to Ugandans, for starters?
No, actually, when you go there, I think all of us have had the experience. There's the price in international and the local. But then also the service delivery to the local is different to the one who's international.
So you're paying a different price. What do you expect?
No, but you see, the international then enjoys more, yet it should be the other way around.
And the most painful,
at least there should be a balance.
Let me tell you what, and I've really tried to travel this country. It is almost impossible to get to a tourism site and you're charged in Ugandan currency. And I stand to be challenged by anyone who's viewing that when I went to tourism site X, in the hotel they were charging in Uganda.
They give you the dollar rate, you convert,
no, you sort yourself.
In shillings, yes.
Now, that is the first, you see, it's the things we should be discussing here from big budgets. Let's start there. One of, even our currency is a tourist attraction, is a point of tourism. That when a Kirabo from, let's say, India comes to Uganda, meanwhile, Kirabo, which country would you have wanted to be if you're not Ugandan?
Zambia.
Philippines? Okay.
That's a question to be to ask.
Okay, yes, but away from the conversation that Felix, you're putting forth, then, of course, we do appreciate that this has been one of the biggest contributors to our national budget, but it has still been affected, one of the biggest, but it's still been affected, and these are one of the recommendations, proposals to be able to boost it back, but nevertheless, even the little may not do much of an impact. Let's look at how this particular sector can be rejuvenated away from such proposals.
First and foremost, in rejuvenating this sector, like Felix put it, I'll begin with domestic tourism. All countries in the world that have had tourism blossom is because they've invested so much into domestic tourism. And COVID-19 proved to us that a time can come when you don't have people coming to Uganda. I'll give you an example. Recently, when we were going in our elections, this kind of insecurity, Uganda was red listed and wasn't a safe destination for people to come in. We saw COVID-19, the entire country, almost world, was closed. You saw airplanes, fleets and fleets parked. So you must build, that is domestic tourism, if you rejuvenate this sector. Talk about the dollar, like Felix has said, improve the roads, market. Priscilla, you cannot do away with marketing. I want to tell you, you'll find a person that doesn't know. Maybe they think these are for foreigners, they are too expensive.
But you see, now we have seen, especially at the beginning of this year, we saw the Uganda Tourism Board and the Marketing Board coming out and actually doing different projects where they were marketing Uganda, they did campaigns, and there were successful campaigns. So, but this was minus this levy being, implemented elected, they had budgets, and those campaigns were successful, and Ugandans have been enticed to become tourists in their own local communities. So why then would they, you know, be wanting such money to be able to continue with what they've already started?
Of course, money would enable you reach heights you maybe you've not been able to reach. For example, maybe get more airplay and all this, carry out a number of campaigns. You find a person stays in where there's the colonial grounds of the Kirabo of Uganda, and maybe they have never gone there. They don't know how interesting these things are. Recently, I told you of a white man that came and wanted to know about Chibuko Mumbale, one of, I think, the warriors in Uganda they believed was fighting from the crowds. And he had to travel all the way to where they believe this is where this man was shot an arrow and everything ended. So these are very interesting stories, but even the Ugandans may not know them. So improve domestic tourism by giving them friendly rates, letting them know. Second, promote stability. You see, any tourists want safety. One time I went to, that is CP Falls. You know how bushy it is and everything. Some would wonder, aren't we going to be abducted here?
No, but you see, Robert, you have to understand, now that's what Felix was talking about, the preservation and conservation of nature.
But preservation doesn't mean insecurity. That there are things that make a person feel safe, you know, right from the reception, the road, a few bit of maybe technology here and there. You can leave the site, but make it, and also the national image. Priscilla, if, for example, in the times you've had the massacre, machete-wielding men killing people, if there were any tourism destination in Masaka, would you be going?
No.
To spend your nights there? So that is the security in this tourism area and part of our country.
All right. This $10 development levy is actually going to also affect traders. An air ticket for everyone going out of the country will have to pay $10 extra to be able to get out of the country. So that means it also affects trade. Felix, let's look at trade and industry that has also been under a lot of pressure to get back into normal stance. And the normal stance has come with a number of levies, other levies that have come through from the recent budget that we are now going by. Most recently, we had the 35% that was put on traders that bring in material. In terms of clothing material. Then we have seen a lot of traders moving away from actually physically going to the likes of Guangzhou, likes of Dubai, Turkey, to pick their products and come back with them, face hefty taxes at URA. Vis-a-vis now, the new normal being is that an online booking, payment, and then your goods are shipped. Again, how then does this $10 come into effect in boosting the economy?
You see, tourism has different faces. You could talk about tourism in terms of there's academic tourism, you have business tourism, then you'll have, I don't know if that is now actual tourism, but quite various ways. And it does cause effect to all of these different examples I'm trying to give. When you talk about the socio-economic welfare and how it does meet the effects of such levies in terms of business transaction or what you want to call trade, you will notice that in the chain, supply chain, or the transaction chain, the effect trickles downward. A trader will charge you even money for his or her air ticket, depending on the prices. That is calculated also in the cost, operational costs, or whatever you would also want to call it. Now, that will also influence backward the ability of people here, one, to purchase or to be interested in some of these products. But also, people who are able to be part of the chain of tourism in this country, believe you me, must have, you see, one time we're having a conversation with a lady from UTB, that was Lily, I don't know if she's still the CEO, I don't know. But she said that tourism is seen as a luxury. Now that would mean that people must have the ability to have something extra after all has been spent on what you want to call useful. And that informs why domestic tourism is so low, because of the kind of livelihood of our people. The question would be, on a spectrum of 10 people in, let's say in Kampala, where we believe that the rich are, how many people can save for purposes of tourism.
The mere fact that they have to serve alone is bad. That means that the purchasing power is completely low.
But also,
exactly.
if I may interject on that, I believe for me is that we've not invested much in ensuring that we demystify that feeling that tourism is maybe a luxury, because Ugandans are embracing tourism in other countries. During the time of COVID-19, if I may give you information, Kenya's #1 people that come to that country is United States of America. According to Kenya Tourism Board, during the time of COVID-19, you find that Uganda was their second, and over 223,000 Ugandans went to Kenya as tourists. It earned Kenya, that is $220 million US. So it's that Ugandans even go there and they are ranking second in terms of earning.
Yes, Felix.
And you see, what Robert is saying is good. But let us try to understand the reason behind it. And it's on record. If you want to look at tourism sites in this country vis-a-vis East Africa, Uganda could be doing, it could be having all whatever they have here, we have. But what are some of the reasons? Look at the costs of being a tourist in Kenya vis-a-vis costs of being a tourist here. I have told you that how many, like for example, my experience, one time we went to one game park hotel I won't mention, and you spend over 6 million shillings in one weekend. Now, how many Ugandans can have that money for a weekend? You get the point. The growth of the economy directly, by the way, and this it directly fits into the capability, ability, and availability of people to be a part of the tourism sector. If the economy is down, that sector goes down with it. Because at the end of the day, it is me, it is Kirabo, it is Priscilla who should be going to these places. But if they're not able to earn, the reason you're talking about this whole COVID thing, people have not been earning. Now, how do you expect them to spend? Let's use the funnel method. People are earning very little, spending so much. And that's the problem. So if you want to talk about, there must be a big difference between the people, and look here, now schools have been closed. They have been one of the biggest sources of tourism to these other places, because there's what we call academic tourism, as I said, that schools have been organizing. Let's go to the zoo, let's go to see. And now that schools are closed, how do we make these people, the wananchi, the citizens, one, be able to afford to be tourists in this country? Secondly, be able to, like, how do you bring this closer to them? Like, for example, in Uganda here we have a Miziro, I don't know, clans, if you want to call them. And people, some people have monkey clan, what? How do you use that as a springboard? Okay. So we must, before we think about the international, you want to, like you saw what Visit Rwanda in Paris Saint-Germain, and let us think of what we can do locally. I think for me, it's a good start. All right.
Robert, as we conclude this conversation, what do you feel will be the impact of this levy, especially on trade, away from tourism, now focusing on trade?
Well, I believe there's so much that traders in Uganda are facing in terms of taxation, and I think it may not yield so much an impact because of the traders. Many of them are not flying out; they're just ordering goods and they're getting in here. And for a trader,
also they have gotten small circles of, instead of each one of us going, we'd rather give the money to Robert go on our behalf and buy.
So for me, I believe that may not greatly have an impact to them because they have learned ways of dodging some of this. But finally, Priscilla, I want to recommend to this. Let's demystify thinking that being a tourist, you must have lots of money saved for so much, because if we promote our tourism sectors and people get to know them, even within your community, there are tourism, people come and look at Labatwa. This is a group of people. Kenya, the Maasais are selling so much. So how much do you need? And let's also improve our tourism sites, the road network, and focus on domestic tourism. These foreigners, anytime, we can hit Hard Rock.
All right, thank you so much, gentlemen, for your contributions to this conversation. At the end of the day, you want to look at the pool of contributors that will be paying this tourism development levy in case it is actually passed on. You also want to look at the fact that we are trying to revive the economy, and tourism having been one of the biggest contributors to our national budget, maybe aiding it to actually continue thriving in COVID-19 through such proposals would be a good avenue. But you have to consider implementation, and then the whole division of the 70% and the 20 or 30%, where it will be good, who are the beneficiaries of this income when it goes back to the common pool. I think it will also be we would like to have some clarity and transparency in that whole project. But away from that, Felix did mention about the dollar. I think the Uganda Tourism Board this particular year has actually changed that mindset, and now for tourists they've been paying in local shillings, your Ugandan shillings, and so that's an initiative that they took on, having understood that they actually need to promote local tourism. And again, for promotion of local tourism, go out and visit something in your community that you've just been bypassing. You will be amazed by the information, what you get to learn at the end of the day, which changes your mindset. We continue with Good Morning Uganda onto the papers and what they have to say this morning.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field could not be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite shows.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Corporation.
Experience 100% 4G speeds across Uganda with the Airtel 4G Pocket Wi-Fi available at 123,000 shillings only. It comes with 15 GB free for 1 month. Visit the nearest Airtel shop, device selling shop, or Airtel online shop. www.airtel.co.ug/broadband-discover. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Echa COVID-19 chijja kugwa only if we stay at home, observe physical distancing, wear masks properly, sanitize or wash our hands with soap and water regularly, or get vaccinated now.
Getting GoTV was the best decision James has ever made. Finding a good place to watch football was never easy, but it was costly until James discovered something big. Now he can finally enjoy the benefits of home ground advantage with a decoder and 1 month of GoTV Valley. For just 25,000 shillings, enjoy the world's biggest leagues and cap competitions. GoTV Uganda, love it.
Live from Now Avenue in UBC Studios. This is Good Morning Uganda.
It's time we serve you what is happening in the press to ensure that you are a very informed person, which is our #1 priority. That as you kickstart your day with us here on Good Morning Uganda, we give you basic information that you need to know as you go about that day. So make it a date with us every weekday from 6:30 till the hour of 9, when Ruben crowns it all with the world of sports. Looking at the new vision this morning, which I'm holding, there is a big headline there. President Museveni summons army commanders. That is, President wants solution to insecurity in Karamoja. Also, the new vision brings you Oyo launches 25-year development agenda. That is the King of Toro. BMK ready to rest. That is prominent businessman Braimu Mwanga Chibidige, also known as BMK, was laid to rest. And was Katram's release a pardon? That is a big question in the new vision there. And still the new vision brings more, that is health and beauty, where iron deficiency a danger among healthy children. And still government agencies, new mergers, jobs that will remain. They give you some of that in the new vision. But also the education column, that is pass O-level senior 3 mathematics, literature and physics, plus senior 2 biology and chemistry there for you. But also the new vision has over 250 jobs and tenders there for you. That is on the front page.
Daily Monitor, Museveni summons top security chiefs, and family relieves last moments of businessman BMK. Now Toro Kingdom, Oyo marks 26 years on throne, and fluids. Does drinking water help you lose weight? But of course, in other news, Irish national loses 3 billion assets to Ugandan fiancé, and maybe they thought he was still chief magistrate in the bar. Well, chief magistrate arrested in Babral. And of course, inside, still in the Daily Monitor, we see William Nadiope Gabula, the fourth, the Chabazinga, has asked his subjects to live by the values of Busoga Kingdom. And Pope Francis, the leader of the Catholic Church, has warned the threat of anti-Semitism there still lacking in Europe. Now, from the archives, Chabazinga Wakowa, that is Wako Muloki, inspects guard of honor during his colonial times. Muloki first became Chabazinga of Busoga in 1955. Robbers break into Katikiro Kagwa's house, that is in history today. It was in 1892. And of course, also today, Italy invades Ethiopia.
Back to the new vision, we begin with the COVID-19 tracker, where new confirmed cases are 214. Then you have positivity rate is at 4.4, new death 3, and total number so far 3,095 people have succumbed to COVID-19 in this country. Very importantly is we must reduce the positivity rate if we are to have our economy rejuvenated and also schools opened as well. Looking at facts or myth, does drinking warm water and lemon prevent COVID-19? The experts answer that to you. Well, did you know the history of National Theatre? The new vision gives you a bit of that, and also we look at that is some of the infrastructures that dominate Kampala, or you must know. That is, we look at the City Hall today and what it was by then. So the vision gives you that is pictorial references of the present and the past decades before.
Now in sports, Mukwala lifts URA there, and Uganda pick lessons from double loss. That is, and of course Ronaldo back with a bang. Man United fans treated to Cristiano Ronaldo's poaching instincts in a 4-1 win that he was over the weekend. Now that is Redicune US Open Championship outstanding queen, and Ronaldo rolls back the years of Lukaku exercise in Stamford there, and Ricciardo tops Italian GP as Max and Hamilton crash egos out. Now Odoch reveals on his way day out in charge of Red Eagles, and Bogere to harden the rocket at men's netball championship.
Looking at the new vision sport, we have good start for URA FC there, and fans hail Ronaldo. Yes, the weekend the man proved he is worth his name yet again. Then this is my story. Whose story? That is Mike Mutebi talks about his journey in football at his luxurious home. The New Vision gives you so much. That is the first in 7 parts series of Mike Mutebi.
Well, of course, we'll also be looking at the Daily Nation, where it's a road shock for Raila and that is Mudavadi. Much more there. Of course, call me survivor, not hustler, says Ruto. I have overcome many challenges, says EDP Ruto. Now, anti-graft people held there and are still lucky now as the country gears into the election in 2021. That is with a PhD. I teach in a primary school, a story of a primary school teacher who has a PhD as well. Well, of course, get yourself a copy of the dailies and be able to understand what's inside the papers. But now, we need to know how Nalwoga.
Thank you so much, Felix. We've been talking about tourism, and there's business tourism. In Kawempe Trading Center, there's a Chinese supermarket called Jin Ken Long Supermarket. It's owned by Chinese. But anyway, we went to pick up a traffic update from Kawempe Business Center and take it all the way to possibly the heart of the city, looking at how the traffic is flowing and also alternative routes that you can use to the heart of the city if you're coming in from the areas of Kawempe. Now, 2 roads do bring in residentials into interaction with the central business area of Kawempe division. You do have the Kawempe Lugoba Road, but also there is the Kawempe Tula Road that brings in business traffic for this trading center. Looking up the main route this morning, only in the trading center is where you do have red zones, an entire red zone on either side of traffic going away from Kawempe and heading to Magandro, and also traffic coming in, stretching all the way from Magandro and going past the trading center. You also do have on the Lugoba Road, you do have traffic that is trying to interface and join the main route. Then you also do have traffic that is trying to connect from Tula Road onto this particular road. That shows you the traffic is surely a lot on Bombo Road. Now, the rest of it could be a bit clear from the Kampala-Masindi part of the road into maybe where you would be having what is known as the bypass, and that is Bombo Road, Kampala-Masindi, also as it's known. And this is going to drop you in some of those other business areas, industrious areas of Kawempe, where you do have a couple of industries. And so basically, the main route, which would be Bombo Road this morning, direct from Kawempe, or if you're heading to Kawempe, is actually a clear route. The only expectation would be is that when you get to the areas of Naweru, then you will be experiencing some sort of traffic jam. And also you do have some traffic jam that you would be experiencing around Tropical Bank, the Kawempe branch, and then you get to move to Mbogo Road, which also will contribute to the traffic on Bombo Road. And that shows you that there's traffic that is trying to still join Bombo Road and will cause that particular main route traffic to slow down. The other areas that will definitely be affecting this traffic, where you will be having the Naweru route, which is having the traffic lights, and so it shows you red zones on either side, either upper side or lower side of Naweru Road, interfacing with the Bombo Road. You are having traffic on either side. Regardless of the traffic lights, now police officers are doing the management of this traffic. This feeds right into the Bwaise roundabout. But now we want to look at alternatives of this traffic and how best you can actually deal with the traffic on Bombo Road, most especially between the hours of 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. It will be building up and getting heavier by the hour. So we want to look at alternatives. You can either, if you're heading to Kawempe Magandro, you can alternatively come through Naweru, and when you join Naweru, it will get you onto Tula Road, and Tula Road is going to give you the back side of the road onto adjacent to Bombo Road. So this is your Bombo Road, this is your Tula Road. So this Tula Road is going to take you back to the trading center at Kawempe. Yes, so it brings you back to the trading center at Kawempe. So avoiding all the traffic. Remember that Bombo Road is a business route, meaning that it's going to have a lot of trucks and a lot of traffic, double or even triple lanes. So this morning you could alternatively use Tula Road, but also from the trading center you can use Tula Road and either take it all the way to Naweru to be able to avoid the traffic on the entire route, or you can take this other road that is known as Tarmac Road, and Tarmac Road is going to drop you in Mpelere, which is the trading center here on Kampala Gayaza Road. So if you are to interface with Mpelere, you need to go to Gayaza or even any of these areas on this particular route. Better if you're coming in from Kawempe, other than going to the Bwaise roundabout and then coming back Kalere and then getting into Mpelere, you would rather use the Tarmac Road, which brings you at the Mpelere Trading Center. Of course, you would be experiencing some jam there because of the traffic. Trade has started, businesses have opened up, and also the public transport system does affect traffic here. But away from that, you will definitely have made a better shortcut in avoiding the traffic that you'd have to take about an hour to make the actual road turn onto Pelere route. But if we are to look at the rest of Pelere, we get to see a lot, not so much jam away from the trading center. In the areas of Kanyanya, we are not seeing as much jam. We're looking at Gayaza Road right now, and Gayaza Road, except for the parts where you do have some roads feeding traffic into the main route around Chevando, you don't see much traffic except at these particular points where you do have the roads that are bringing in either traffic from other parts of the area or the region of Kawempe. You do have the Chevando Ring Road that will bring you all the way from Mulago, that can actually drop you into the area of Chevando on Gayaza Road. And then this is also going to lead you to the Kampala Northern Bypass at what is known as the Kalere Roundabout. Away from the Kalere Roundabout, you then get to see that there's traffic that is moving in the direction of Kalere. You do expect that market day on Monday has started and perishables are being offloaded, so that is going to affect the flow of traffic. And equally, because there's a bit of taxi stages here on the route, those also do affect traffic that is heading into the heart of the city. A sneak peek onto the bypass, you are seeing red zones on either side around the Kalere roundabout, and that should be indicator on how you should be managing how you're moving using the Kalere roundabout. Perhaps then heading to the Bwaise roundabout, then heading into Busega, and then you end up in Entebbe. That would be a good alternative. Sticking to the main trade routes, from Kalere, you get to see on the Kampala Gayaza Road. Then this brings you to the roundabout at Makerere Kavule. And this roundabout also is having some traffic. It does interface with Bombo Road. It does bring you traffic or takes traffic away on the Binaisa Road, and then also the Makerere Kavule heading into Bwaise. These also all interface with this roundabout here. So every single morning it's quite hefty in terms of traffic. There are potholes. I don't know if KCCA has managed to actually be able to renovate this particular area and deal with the potholes, because majorly it's the potholes on the Kavule Road and also Binaisa Road and also on Bombo Road that are causing a lot of traffic on this particular roundabout. But away from that, Bombo Road bringing you into Wandegea, you don't see much traffic. The heavier traffic is actually on Binaisa Road, which connects you to the Mulago roundabout. As you can see, it has a lot of traffic that is coming through in that direction, and you do have a long stretch of red, meaning the traffic is actually motionless. It's not moving on the Binaisa Road, which brings you to the Mulago roundabout. Even on the Mulago roundabout, traffic coming in from Mulago, traffic that is coming in on Kira Road is a lot in building into red zones, meaning that it's not moving. You also do have traffic from Yusuf Lule Road trying to interact with the Mulago roundabout, still giving you an indicator that it's barely moving. Also traffic that takes away into Wandegea, which is Haji Musa Kasule Road, is also having a lot of traffic to and from. Now that means, yes, they're police officers, but the fact that these are so many vehicles, people are trying to get into the heart of the city at this particular juncture, you would would be expecting that, and so patience more than ever will be required this Monday morning. But also in weather, nature and climate, this Monday morning we do have an update for you coming through from Molen Kenyana. Should you carry an umbrella, a sweater, or should just go live? She tells us.
Yes, thank you very much, Priscilla. Well, it looks like we're seeing clear skies across much of the country. Well, of course, there are areas that are expected to have rains this morning, also parts of Kampala. So yes, those rains are in the forecast. You can look out for those, but we'll look at our forecast for this morning a little bit later. First, I want to take you through what we have in the report that is coming in according to what we're seeing with the climate status. Now, a report that we have right now, it is showing that this last year was actually the deadliest when it comes to the death of people defending the environment. Now, a new report shows that that's the record. We've had more than 227 people reported dead in a fight to defend the environment. Well, this report is coming in from the Global Witness a compilation that is showing that most of the killings that have happened, especially in Latin America, Colombia, well, the worst affected countries, and it is saying that with 65 defenders killed for either protecting indigenous land or defending forests and their cocoa crops. Well, Mexico is also third on that list, showing that there has been a lot of death, a record showing 30 killings that were related to defending the environment. And also on the list we have the Philippines, where this was the only country outside the region actually which has recorded more than 15 deaths. And the Global Witness is saying that 29 people were also reported dead for attempting to halt mining, dam projects, together with more than half of the attacks in 2020 taking place in all these areas according to the climate reports. Now we're trying to see a video of what is happening within climate, how extreme weather events are being related to the changing climate, and how this is affecting our environment, how this is affecting our livelihood. Now, to wake up to a report that is showing that 227 people have been killed in a fight to defend the environment is actually devastating, I would say, because we are seeing that this is going to keep happening. But now when you have a group of people that are trying to protect this, and most of these are protests actually, people trying to see the wrong thing being done and then coming back to say, hey, this is wrong, we're going to protest about this, and then they end up being killed. And if you look at this number and look at the numbers of people that we've lost due to extreme weather events, it's just devastating, looking at landslides, looking at flooding, the wildfires, and we have a hurricane season right now across America, and we are seeing more storms taking people's lives. But only 227 people who tried to do the right thing dying because of that. This is just something that we should be looking out for, and also mind, instead of killing these people, listen to what they have to say. And it's actually devastating to see that last year is now on record for being one of those years where people have died trying to do the right thing. And also, I want to add on the report this morning that is coming in from IPCC, that is the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, that is showing that right now we've always looked at carbon dioxide and oceans as the sinks, the sinks for carbon dioxide. But now the report shows that in the coming years, in the future, we could look at a scenario where carbon dioxide and other gases, the greenhouse, the forests and all that to take away. Now, this climate report has been worrying ever since it came out early in June, showing the projections that are alarming in terms of climate status. But when we're talking about a reduction in carbon dioxide, and we are counting on the oceans to take away that, we are telling people plant more trees. But scientists are now observing that this is not enough. It's not going to be enough for us to plant trees. It's not going to be enough for us to look forward to oceans to take away some of these emissions. There is a need for action. And this came out earlier from Working Group 1, still from the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, showing that as the emissions are increasing in the atmosphere, especially carbon dioxide, which is more worrying because it is known to trap more heat than any of these other gases, we look at a scenario where this will not be contained, will not be able to be contained by the sinks that we are actually talking about. And I can tell you this is the worst case scenario we can look at among the scenarios we've seen so far coming out of that climate report. The temperatures are increasing, that's for sure, and we are looking at a global goal of reaching 1.5 degrees Celsius increase. But now, where we have less effectiveness in terms of carbon sinks, then we can expect to have more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So that means this will be trapping more heat within the atmosphere, and that means that globally we'll see an increase in carbon dioxide. So I think what we need to do mostly is make sure this carbon dioxide is not going into the atmosphere in the first place, because now the things that we've been counting on to take away what we are putting in the atmosphere cannot do that anymore. And IPCC is known to have the best climate scientists that actually come up with all these projections, even foreseeing the future events. All these things that are happening right now were earlier advised from the climate reports, the fifth assessment report still from IPCC. But the more we keep ignoring some of these reports, the more we keep polluting our environment, the more we keep putting more carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, then we're looking at scenarios where even a 1.5 target is not achievable. We might be looking at increase in temperatures going up to 3 degrees or 4 degrees according to the scenarios that have also been projected. But now what we need to do is just move on the right path, go green, look at other renewable energy, especially the fossil fuels that we are trying to tell people, please move away from fossil fuels. These are creating more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere than any other. So this is the first thing that we need to look at and abandon. And I'm happy that most of the top polluting countries, that is China and the US, now last week we saw President Biden advocating for electric cars. He wants to ban actually other cars that use fossil fuels and move to electric cars that are more renewable. And I hope China can also take from that, because they are the top polluting and in terms of using fossil fuels. But that doesn't mean that even us here, we're doing a lot of things that do create more emissions into the atmosphere. We can double down on that, especially our industrial processes. We need something that we can look at. Is there any policy regulating how these industries operate? We do have a new plant from Kirabo, and they have been looking at moving to renewable energy, producing electric cars, and they already have those running. But will the new plant focus on basically that? Because I've seen they also have the petrol buses, they also have the ones that are using non-renewable energy. But their core goal was actually to go electric, to go renewable. So what happened in between there? That is still more that we need to focus on as the climate change department in Uganda, and also the policymakers. Make sure that some of these plants that we can control, because they are just starting now, are going renewable. Well, talking about renewable, we want to see what is new across our skies. For this morning, we'll go ahead and take a look at our forecast by looking at more clear skies across the country. Although for the Lake Victoria basin, the central part of Lake Victoria, that is where we have Kampala, Entebbe, Wakiso and Mukono, we're forecasting light rains. Those will be coming in as we head into the afternoon. Temperatures forecasted to be at a cool 24 degrees centigrade. The central part of northern Uganda, we have Gulu, Kitgum, Padel, Germany. We're forecasting clear skies. We do have intervals of sunny and cloudy conditions, but rains will be developing in the afternoon. Do look out for those. We are starting off at 26 degrees centigrade. Now, eastern central, we have Luwero, Wobulenzi, we have Bururi, Nakaseke. We're forecasting those light showers again. It will be quite a cold morning, starting off at 26, but we'll see temperatures go up as the day progresses, and we'll have mostly intervals of sunny, cloudy conditions as the day progresses. Now, across eastern parts of Lake Victoria, where we have Jinja, Tororo, we have Busia, we are forecasting light rains as well, starting off at a pleasant 26 degrees centigrade. We do expect those to clear as the day goes on. Now for the Mount Elgon Highlands, we have Mbale, Buko, we have Sironko, we have Bududa. We are forecasting isolated showers as well. Those will continue into the afternoon. Please do look out for those. We are starting off at 25 degrees centigrade, quite a chilly day coupled with those rains for this morning. Now, the western part of Lake Victoria, we have Masaka, Kalisizo, Sembabule, Rakai. We are forecasting still isolated rains. Those are also starting off at 25 degrees centigrade, quite a cold morning over there. And we do expect that rain system to also continue into the afternoon. Well, and mostly the northern part of the country starting off with clear skies, sunny conditions. The Karamoja region starting off with quite sunny skies as well, and also extending into the Lake Kyoga region, which is right now dealing with mostly partly cloudy skies, but we do expect rains to develop later in the afternoon, especially around the Kyoga region. Well, it is a beautiful morning. Priscilla is here. She has most of your comments that are coming in through from our poll question. Priscilla, take us through those comments.
Okay, thank you so much, Molen. Good morning, Felix, Robert, and Molen. I think it's okay for such streets to be named after people who set a good legacy in our country when to go to the city center. Many businesses are owned by the late BMK, so I think even the family members will find it fulfilling and appreciated due to the work done by their deceased instead of the Wilsons we don't even know. Cricket Derek, as usual, from Machindia, Ruafu. This is in response to our poll question this morning, where there is a recommendation of a road to be named in honor of the late BMK. Good morning, Uganda crew. As long as it's not politicized, it's a good move. But how many good persons do we have? Or is it about the rich? Is it about the rich? Very good question. I think it's not really about the rich, but what have they done? Obviously, by the time you're rich, you have actually done something. You are not born rich. I am not born rich. But it's because these people do extraordinary things to become who we are. Magufuli would have to be in Tanzania. etc. So as to always remind us about the contribution and motive those are existing. Okay. Those are nice responses. The point is to keep in memory of their contribution to society, be it socially, be it economically, in whatever way they contributed to society having changed for the better. That is where we should be having the basis drawn on who gets to have a naming roads rights. But away from that, Good Morning Uganda does continue. Robert Kirabo coming through on Good Morning Uganda agenda. And finally, Ruben P. Mashibirango will be closing it with the world of sports and the conversation of CR7 and the whole entry and exit of this Manchester United game and what this actually means for the future of United. Is this finally the season they get to retain the trophy? Okay, we will find out with Ruben. Good morning.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
I'm Joanita Kawalia, the Pikau Goodwill Ambassador. I'm here to inform you that Uganda Cancer Institute, together with the Palliative Care Association of Uganda, in partnership with the Ministry of Health, will host the 3rd Uganda Conference on Cancer and Palliative Care on 23rd and 24th September 2021. The theme of the conference is Cancer and Palliative Care in COVID-19 and Other Challenging Situations. This year's conference is a unique one and will be held virtually with some sessions broadcast live on UBC TV. We will have panel discussions, plenary sessions, and workshops, as well as presentations of abstract, where scientists will share latest research on cancer and palliative care. This conference will bring together at least 400 policymakers, researchers, health providers, patients, and the general public who will be watching online. I encourage you all to register for this important event. Registration for Ugandan delegates is 200,000 shillings.
For more information, call 0392 080 713 or 0414 540 410. Email conference@uci.or.uj or conference@pcau.org.uj.
Be part of the launch of the new National SDG Roadmap 2021-2025.
We can be. We must be.
The generation that starts the journey of repairing the earth. It's possible. We have the roadmap for it.
The global goals, a 15-year plan that includes each and every one of us with the intention of
leaving no one behind.
The government of Uganda, through the Office of the Prime Minister, in partnership with the United Nations Development Programme, United Nations in Uganda, invites you to the launch of the country's National Sustainable Development Goals Roadmap 2021-2025. The SDGs are the world's blueprint to achieve a better and sustainable future for all by 2030, leaving no one behind. The Right Honourable Robina Nabanja, Prime Minister of the Republic of Uganda, will preside over the launch of the roadmap on Wednesday, the 15th of September 2021, starting at 8:30 a.m. The launch will be telecast live on UBC TV. Attendance is by invitation only.
Pick of the day on UBC, brought to you by was brought to you by.
We've cut and reduced our MTN Momo withdrawal rates. Now you can withdraw mobile money at the lowest rates. You also get MTN Century Points when you deposit, send and withdraw MTN mobile money. Visit our Momo agents countrywide and withdraw mobile money at our reduced rates from 1st May 2021. Everywhere you go. MTN.
I smile when I think of you, Uganda, my home. My home, I dance when I look at you, Uganda, my home. Oh, my Uganda.
I know, with you I'll always stay forever. I know, because I feel that we belong together, my home. On my heart, mommy, oh my Uganda. Hey, mama. My Uganda. Oh, my Uganda. Oh, my Uganda. My Uganda. Nigokone. My Uganda. Amari, Alemira. My Uganda.
At MTN, we look forward to starting another exciting journey together to grow our home, Uganda.